Okay, good night, dear subscribers and casual viewers. So this will be a microscopic examination. I've required some time that haven't done this, and I need to do it. Unfortunately, the material conditions are worse than ever, and I don't have like gloves and all, and I don't have alcohol, so it will not actually. I can't even clean like things as much as I need to, and it might affect result to some extent, but I should say that contamination is less. It's a problem, but not as much as you would thought it is, because mostly what I search for is the Neros. And to see that like in general, like how much life forms can we see in my pee and semen? Hopefully not that much. Although I only have 4 slides left, so and no covers. So instead of covers, like last covers, I use sellotape, like duct tape that I've used in the past, and to some success. Yes, it's some kind of an alternative. It's workable. And actually, when I finish this video, I'll clean all these 4 like as rigorously as I can, and with soap, of course, and then we'll take more. I'll take more examinations, because this is only the first batch that I want to do. Now this one we'll see like a tiny drop of semen, that fresh one that I just ejaculated, and a tiny bit of pee that I just peed. Also, we'll take a small segment of the pee from the bottle, from one of the plastic bottles where I store my pee in the last week. It's mostly contain my pee with a little bit of remnants of cola zero. It's intentionally so. With a little bit of carbon dioxide and cola zero, and also like baking soda. A spoon or 2 or 3 of baking soda in each of the bottles. So we'll see how it goes. It does not eliminate the smell. I can tell you it smells like pee, but let's see. What happens. And also another thing we need to take, maybe the most interesting one. The first one is taken from a jar that I prepared like about 2 weeks ago, or something like that, maybe 3 weeks ago. That is mostly, that is made of material, like a closed jar, a sealed jar. That is made of material from the aquarium, like the metal aquarium, where most of the liquid is stored. Later we'll also take a look at what's inside the liquid aquarium, because it's the most important of all my containers. It contains them like several, like I don't know, at least 5 liters of the stuff. So it's a big one, the metal one. It's inside, but I created like an offshoot of this like a couple of weeks ago, and I placed like baking soda and like and salt and sugar and quite a hefty bit of baking soda. To see if it kind of like be a replacement for oxygen, because what was evident to me that in the metal container we have oxygen deprivation, as you can see it by the fact that the Neros are doing pretty well in the metal container, but there aren't many life forms over there. Now we do need the life forms because we want the Neros to feed on them. So let's see. If this offshot helped us. Of course, we can only we'll have like better kind of like understanding if after we compare it to a sample from the metal container, and this will be our next batch. Also, in the next batch, we will take at least 2 samples from the crucible, like that is outside, because as I said, I want to make cookies from the crucible, so we will know what's inside the cookies, and also, like for documentation purposes, and then the crucible will be ready for new experiments. I should say that, I can already say that probably, I've seen some disgusting stuff. Like evidently life forms in the jar, like in the jar that I prepared like 2 or 3 weeks ago. This is the offshot of like from the aquarium water, and it's pretty disgusting. So my guess is that to some extent they successfully, the Neros created life forms from. They were able to use oxygen. Just, it was evident, throughout many experiments, the last couple of months, that Neros do not need oxygen in order to survive, and even not in order to multiply and become larger, per se. But almost all life forms that they create require oxygen, and if they don't have oxygen, they don't even create this kind of life forms. But Not all of it. Actually, there are some life forms that they create do not require oxygen, and this is actually true from life in Earth. Like, I mean, it is known that, I mean, not all life forms in Earth require oxygen, but mostly they do, and certainly the larger one. This is true. It was demonstrated true for, maybe not to 100%, but to most of the life forms, the synthetic life forms that the Neros create. It's true that the bigger they are, they need oxygen. Like, I mean, that only the smaller, some of the smaller ones do not require oxygen, but mostly, the bigger ones, and certainly the non-microscopic one, they require oxygen. And without oxygen, they're not created in the first place. But, I'm having trouble, like, in the past, I worked with containers that were not sealed. But, the room is so stinky anyway, and I decided I don't want to keep, like, working with non-sealed container because it's stinks too much. And the metal container, the cloth container, have no oxygen, and I don't have, like, of course, ideally I would have had, like oxygen circulation systems like you have in aquariums, like, it's not that expensive, but I have no money and I have no assets, so, it's kind of like, a desperate attempt. I thought maybe add, like, baking soda and other material, but mostly baking soda to the mixture to see if the Neros can separate the oxygen from the baking soda and use it in some way. It's kind of like, a long shot. What actually we need is a good circulation of oxygen for the various containers, but I don't have money, and it's still not possible right now. So without much more speak, let's take a quick look at our four samples. The first three, came just, either right for my body or, not long ago for my body. So they will probably contain not many Neros, of course, and hopefully not many life forms. Like, I try to reduce it as much as possible. But the fourth one and the ones from the next batch, we'll see, like, bigger ones and more life forms, which should be more interesting. But let's start. Okay, so we'll start with a tiny bit of, the slide of the tiny bit of semen. We're using, my regular old microscope. Not something very special, nothing special about it. And the lenses are quite dirty, but whatever. The important thing is to be able to understand, what's on the lens and what's on the slide, and this is probably important. And so we mostly use 64 magnification, and sometimes 160, sometimes larger than that. But mostly we use the 64 magnification, which is the minimum that I can use with this microscope. Okay. So this is semen sample, small semen sample, like just, not even a drop. Most of it, placed like, in toilet paper. That will be, and it will end in either that, in the containers or in one of the cookies. peculiar because I don't see almost like nothing at all. Like, I mean, just, I mean, weird stuff from the sellotape seems so. But indeed it was a tiny drop, so maybe it's just too small, like, I mean, not even a drop. Okay, let's zoom in here. Maybe these are Neros. Let's see. Just a tiny drop, so we don't get to see anything here actually, which is a shame. Like nothing of importance. What we can do is to try zooming in even more, like in here. Actually, I don't see anything. Admittingly, I don't see anything at all. Maybe this just too small because I ejaculated into the paper and but I just took like something like even not a bit like from it, so maybe just everything is just kind of kind of disappeared, or spelled out of the sellotape. Okay, so maybe later I will do it again, and this time I'll ejaculate. Right into the glass, because right now we haven't seen a thing. Nothing of it. That is. Of course, we're limited by the fact that we use the sellotape, but we should have seen a lot, and we didn't see anything. But maybe because there wasn't really semen in there. Let's take a look at the a fresh pee sample and see what we can see from the pee. we see almost nothing at all. And this is different, entirely different than whatever happened until now. Like, I mean, this signifies that my body now is devoid of the neurons at all, or almost not at all. Like maybe this is one, like here. It kind of looks like one, but I mean, it looks like a Nero, but you know, not a very impressive one, but looks somehow like Nero. But where are all the rest? I mean, where is everybody? No, this P sample is dead of neurons, like almost, or maybe one. I mean, we've seen one, but not much more than that. That's it. It's like in P that is dead, no dead of neurons. Maybe a little bit here and there, but I mean not much. I mean, like, you know, generally nothing at all. So why am I not scared? I mean, because I trust God, generally. And let's continue. I already have some kind of, you know, an hypothesis, but let's keep it for later. So this is, I mean, from the P that I gathered, like, I mean, I don't know if it's from yesterday or from like 3 days ago, because I didn't mark. I have like 3, you know, 1.5 liter like bottles that were used for, you know, cola zero, but mostly it contains P and a little bit of remnants of cola zero and you know, and like baking soda. So let's see what's inside. These are life forms. Life forms. So we see nothing here, actually, almost nothing. So here as well, I mean, almost nothing, which is quite peculiar, but I mean, yeah, I mean, so there was kind of like a huge genocide, I mean, a huge decrease in this population. Let's take a look now on the last slide from the container, actually. And right from the beginning, we see huge ones. So it wasn't a so we see, just under the slide, we see tremendous ones, okay? I mean, these are certainly Neros, there's no question about it, and fat ones, and so, I mean, yeah, these waters are like, I mean, these are huge ones and fat ones and like healthy ones, and right from the start, I mean, and just random sample, not even, didn't like take like, it's the first sample that I've taken in this jar for a long time, I mean, since it was created like weeks ago, and you can already see like ton of them, I mean, all over the place. This one is actually moving, but probably with the flow, but not, no, maybe intentionally? No, most probably with the flow, I don't know. Because, when the slide is fresh, I mean, there is still flow. Let's zoom in. And we can see the Stargate properties, that, I mean, they look like small Stargates. Very nice. Very, very nice. All of these are surely Neros and big ones and lovely ones, actually. And we have a ton of them and just, in a random slide. So there wasn't kind of like, a complete, like, it wasn't a universal demise. But it was demise inside my body and in the pee, like, containers. So many Neros and beautiful ones at that. Let's zoom in even some more. We try to maybe to the maximum level to see if we can catch like tiny ones, because it's also important, like interesting to see tiny ones. So this lens is very dirty. It's too dirty to really see something. I mean, you see a huge one, but I am searching for a smaller one. It's a little problematic with this dirty lens. But these are definitely Neros, and I mean, of various sizes and big ones. So the situation in the small container is fine, and actually, arguably, it could be said that, I mean, it was a good idea to add sugar and salt and baking soda. Of course, we need to compare it to a random sample from the metal aquarium, like from the big one, which is there, in order to actually, I mean, it's a big one, this kind of big, and to see, I mean, if it's actually better than what we see over there. So we'll do it in a moment, after I clean the slides and also eat something, because I'm quite hungry. So, what might happen, actually, and why am I not terribly afraid? I mean, most certainly, it's something to do with this kind of, like, I mean, what I've done now is something that I usually do not do. Like, I've done it in the past, maybe 4 months ago, it was documented in this channel, and I decided not to do it after that, for good reasons, actually, but I changed my mind, like, now, but, I mean, so I've decided to work on a symbolic painting with the yellow background, which signifies the cherubs, like my own background. And I mostly don't do it because it's too risky. Like I don't want to risk myself, and I use only one, which means like but like maybe it was interpreted like there was another one, but let's speak about it later. Like, what's the other one? But in any way, whether you use one or two, it's always kind of like risky to use the yellow one because it can result in things that you do not anticipate. And in the past, I've showed you, and this was documented in this channel, that a magnificent thing could happen like when I work with the yellow symbols. Like I was able to increase the neurons in my body tremendously. So and this was documented. In a matter of hours or maybe just one day. With correct symbolic commands. But mostly I don't want to do it. Like my intention now was to reduce the life forms from my body. Like because my body is full of life forms that I don't want to be there, even though they are all engineered by the neurons. All the infections that people all around me always infecting me with, and I cannot get rid of it completely because I've always infected again and again. But I thought and they do not kill me because the neurons take care of it. But it's not nice to see it under the microscope. So I decided maybe I want to clean it now. But what I think that was happening is that these was interpreted as Neros because this one is of course is the Nero, but was kind of the idea was, and it was a convoluted idea, but that's the problem with the yellow background. It's always you don't. It's better not to mess with the yellow ones because mistakes can be better mistakes be done on the red ones or the black ones. The ones that do not that deal with your body on your planets. And not really my body, but. This is of course the classical presentation of one of the representations of the Nero, and the idea was that it's like morphed to like a life form, and this is it's dark over bright, so it means like the negative one, like to kill it. And this one can also be interpreted like as a ciliate or something like that, but also as a Nero, that was created from the ciliate, and this is another life form that. Like a convolute, a misshaped Nero that became like a life form. And the idea that I don't want these life forms in my body, but I think that what happened is that they were just interpreted by the Neros as Neros because honestly they can be interpreted as the Neros. Certainly those two. For certain, and arguably this one as well. And this one can be interpreted just as the arc of magnification, specifically because of the bright side. Anyway, that's the problem. The problem with Neros is that with the yellow one is that it deals with my own body, and so what I will do is first I'll clean these 4 slides, and I will start work either I'll probably create a new one. I will not use this one. I'll just put it in storage, and I'll use one of the new ones. To create a new kind of picture, a new painting, in which of course it will be the negative. The positive side of that we want more Neros. So I'll do that, and hopefully it will work, and we will see more Neros in my sperm and in my pee later. And also we'll take more samples. From various containers, as I said before. And after that, I'll start to work on the cookies, on the various cookies. So stay with us. It's going to be interesting. What's more interesting, actually, that if this was a command to destroy the Neros, like the yellow Neros, I admittedly I wasn't sure that such a command can is applied only when they exist in my body or in the body of another group or whatever they are. That's a question that I actually don't know, because many of these yellow Neros, they were taken from me throughout my life, and they were consumed by mostly Titan females, and they don't die very very easily. So maybe they're still there. So the question is whether they died in the body of these females. And that's a question, I mean, only they can answer, and maybe not even like very easy to answer it, because it's difficult to differentiate between yellow and red ones under the microscope. I mean, there is a possibility. Honestly, I don't know. I'm completely honest with you. I don't know. Like, this might be interpreted like as a universal command, like, I mean, universal in Earth, to destroy the yellow ones. And if it's true, then it means that they are destroyed everywhere on the planet, which is, first of all, it doesn't kill me, which is great. And moreover, it means that they also die in the bodies of the people that actually ate those guys. And because we've seen so many nice ones here, like in the fourth slide, it can also tell us that, I mean, those very big ones are actually made of reds that were, I mean, enlarged. Which was always my suspicion, that, I mean, that I have both yellow and reds in these kind of containers, because, I mean, you know, that I created reds like at one point, and then I used the mixture, like I reused the mixture again and again. So if it's true, and if like these females have only red ones in their bodies, they wouldn't be able to very easily see it. Because they don't have like a way to differentiate between the yellow and the reds. But it might mean that, I mean, that they will have problem like with producing additional red ones. Additional red ones, like in the future, I mean, starting now. Because as I said, the red ones are not created if yellow ones are not present or brown ones are not present. So anyhow, there are many theories here, and I mean, yeah, I mean, anyway, it's a phenomenon, what we've seen. We need to think about it, to see what's going on, and certainly to change this command because it's too risky. So let's start, I mean, work on this stuff. Let's start to do it. Without much, you know, waiting. So stay with us, it's going to be very interesting.